Hey y'all, it's Janine, and today we're going to be working on a couple more resin coaster projects. One of them is going to be a sports themed coaster that I made for my dad. He's a huge Saints fan, so I wanted to do something for him, with a theme for his favorite team. And I'm going to show you how to incorporate some stickers and glitter and pigments. And the other project I'm working on is another glass tile coaster project, and this time I'm going to show you how to make an initial and embed it in your resin and using pigments as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of pictures here so that you can see what the finished products look like, and then we'll get started. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Okay, for these two coasters, we're going to do our technique a little bit differently than we did for pouring this one. We're using the same products, the Easy Cast resin, which is a 2-part epoxy that includes hardener and resin. And I mixed 1 ounce of each, measured them out using these little measuring cups. And we're going to do this, for these two, we're going to do them in 2 pours. And what I'm going to do is mix this Pearl X pigment powder into it, and it is in the color gold, I believe. Just Aztec Gold is the name of it. And what I'm going to do is take a clean stirring stick and I'm just going to scoop out with the stick a little bit of the powder, about like that, and put it into the resin. And I'm going to mix that in and see how it looks and see if I need more, and then mix in more if I need it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour half of the gold mixture into each one. And I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be exact. And I'm just creating some swirls in the pigment powder, or in the mixture of the pigment powder and the resin. This is really a cool effect with this pigment powder. Okay, I'm going to let that set for a minute. Let some of the bubbles rise to the top and release them with the lighter. And then I'm going to move on to the next step with this one. I'm going to do these a little bit differently. I'm going to do this one using the glass tiles again to do an initial. But this one I'm going to add some glitter to, and then put some stickers on it and make it a sports themed, my husband's favorite sports team. I'm going to make it themed for that. So I'll be back to add the glitter in just a minute. And now we're just releasing the bubbles. When you mix in the pigment powder, it has a tendency to create more air bubbles. So we're just releasing those bubbles. Okay, I think that about does it. Okay, now for the one that we're going to be doing a sports theme on, I am just going to sprinkle some glitter right on top. And I do use quite a bit, because some of them are going to sink down to the bottom, which is going to be, you're not going to see on a coaster, you're not going to see the bottom of it, so we want as much sparkle on the top as possible. So I sprinkle actually quite a bit of glitter to make sure that a lot of it stays on the surface. So that's it for now. We've got to let everything cure for several hours before we can move on to the next step with these two. Okay, so now I've let this, the colored resin and the glittered resin sit overnight. And you can see I've already arranged, I'm using my glass tiles again. Just about a 1/2 inch size glass tiles that are pre-cut. And I just arranged them into the shape of my initial J. And then on this one, I used some stickers that I got from Amazon, and from these I got from Michael's, these little football stickers. And I got these little bags of fleur-de-lis shaped confetti from Amazon, and so I just arranged all that into something that was pleasing to me. And I went ahead and mixed up my 2-part resin, which is 1-part hardener and 1-part resin, easy cast resin, and I used 1.5 ounces of each, because I think that's what I'm going to need to be able to finish casting this, because this one's going to take a little bit more to cover these glass tiles. Okay, now we just need to let that set for a few minutes, and then using a lighter to release any air bubbles that float up to the top. And we let it sit overnight, and then we'll be ready to unmold it in the morning. Okay, so we let these coasters sit for overnight for about 12 hours. And because I did go to work after I molded them, I'd missed some bubbles, so they did dry with some bubbles in them, but they don't look horrible. But that's what they look like finished. And then one of my little bits of fleur-de-lis confetti moved, but still I don't mind that so much. I still like the overall appearance of the way they came out. So I'm going to do the same thing with these two that I did with the other coaster. I'm going to get my cork and just lay the coaster on it, trace around, and just cut it out. And I just follow my tracing. And it doesn't have to be exact, because you can trim it up a little bit after the glue dries. But you do want to stay as much on the line as possible. But it's okay if it's not perfect. Okay. And again, I'm just going to make sure the bottom of this is free of dust. And I'm just going to take the E6000 glue. And I'm going to run it around the edge because that's where you want to make sure you have the best seal, is right around the edge. And then I'm just going to continue to swirl it on the inside. Okay, again, you don't want to put the cork down this way because it makes it really hard to make it stick down. I find it's better if you turn it this way where it's curling towards the coaster. And just press down lightly so you don't squish too much glue out. You just want to kind of distribute the glue around and press the cork down. And just make sure that it's pressed down all the way around. Now if you do happen to get some glue come over the edge, just take a wet paper towel and wipe it up really quickly while it's still good and wet. But this one looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to put that aside and do the second one. And come back with pictures of the finished product. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed these resin coaster projects, and I really enjoyed making them for you. You know, you're only limited by your imagination. There are so many things that you can cast in resin. So I hope that you get busy and get crafting. Have a great day.